Good afternoon, and I would like to welcome you to our April webinars for exemplary schools. The Lutheran Church Missouri Synod School Ministry, in cooperation with Concordia University, Wisconsin's Office of Continuing and Distant Education, has been conducting monthly National Lutheran School Accreditation Best Practice webinars. These webinars provide a great opportunity for staff development. Today's webinar is being presented by Shepherd of the Desert and will be the first of their best practices for the month of April. Today's practice will be dealing with middle school language arts and technology. Sherry Green will be our presenter, and she is going to take us through a series of slides to talk about technology being used in the classroom and then how she relates that to the subject matter of language arts. Again, a reminder that these are recorded and that they will be posted later to the Lutheran portal, so you would be able to go back and to listen to those and see those and even share those with your faculty. Before we begin today, I would ask that we begin in a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many blessings that you have given to us. We thank you for Lutheran schools and the opportunities that Lutheran schools have to share the gospel with their children and the families and the community. Lord, we ask that you would be with Sherry today as she makes her presentation, that she would be able to share the gift that she has picked up on using language arts and technology into her classrooms, and that we would benefit from her presentation. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, Sherry.
And welcome, everyone. And before I start, I just want to let you know I could not have created my language arts and technology without Andy. Andy, welcome. I'm so glad you're here because you started this. I just have to tell you, every time I went into Andy and said, I need this, he's like, how are you going to use it? And I said, I'm going to use it this way. And he said, okay. So everything I'm showing you here was because I had a principal, still have a principal, but I had a principal that believed in what I was doing, what I was trying to give the kids in the classroom. So thank you, Andy. I just appreciate that. Today, I'm just going to share initially some theoretical slides. I know it's probably a little boring, but this is how I realized technology was so important, and it was by doing the background work in some classes I had taken. So, successful and effective integration of technology in the classroom for the 21st century global world. Somehow world got there. But one of my prayers that I think of often is for whoever has will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have will be taken from them. So what I take from that is we need to evolve along with technology. We need to either use it or lose it. And I've seen students that are lost in a classroom when they don't have some basic technology skills. And then a quote by Alvin Toffler, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So every year technology is changing. God wants us to use those abilities and our circumstances to build up our kingdom here on earth. I do believe that. So we need to move quickly to keep up. Teachers are on the forefront of helping our students learn. So the educational technology, I believe, provides us the tools that are necessary to reach all of our students. And beauty of it is, it doesn't matter what the instructional level of the student is. I can differentiate my classroom to meet the needs of all learners. So merging these theoretical theories in the classroom are important. So what is the integration of technology? And according to the National Center for Education Statistics, technology integration is defined as the incorporation of technology and technology-based practices. So that, I think, is just important to know. Our kindergarten through 8th grade, they participate in technology classes. We have a technology teacher that meets the needs of all of those students. So it develops over the grades, and this year is the first year we've implemented it, and it really works well. So by the time the students come to my classroom, they are well acquainted with technology and how to use the internet and the keyboard. these are the learning theories that I've spent a lot of time reading about, and I believe these all have a place in the classroom, and this is really what geared my focus to technology in the classroom. This is it's a simple pyramid. It's just it shows you how students learn, and it's how they store information. It's schema-based and developmentally appropriate according to age level. This is a constructivist learning theory, and students construct their own world based on their personal knowledge, and the learning occurs in a natural setting. And when I have students use the computer programs that I have in the classroom, they're building their own knowledge base. We have the humanist theory, and this just addresses the physiological needs, the safety needs, belonging and love and esteem and self-actualization. That definitely has a place in the classroom. The socialist learning theory. Students learn through observing and modeling, so we do a lot of that on the overhead, and then students learn from one another. If I have a student that really catches on, I will ask them to be available to other students to ask questions. And you know, this increases the self-efficacy of students, and you know, if you've ever heard that term, I'm living vicariously through my children, well, often it's vicarious learning if another student models the behavior that is rewarded, and other students will pick up on that. And of course, the self-efficacy is, can a student actually do something on the internet and produce something that is amazing that they didn't know they could do before. We have the moralist learning theory. And the moralist learning theory, and this is according to one of my resources, says that education should be provided that prepares students to become socially responsible citizens. And I believe that that's important in the classroom. I have yet to see or hear from a student who's gone on to high school who said, Mrs. Green, we never needed to learn any of that. So I believe that it's important to learn through technology in the classroom. The very first technology tool that I have is our English textbook through Pearson. It was the first big purchase that we made for the classroom. It's online, available wherever a student has access to a computer and internet. It's interactive. It contains videos that students can go back and look at time and time again. It provides immediate feedback, whether it's through practice or testing or review. It's easily differentiated. It's self-paced and self-directed. As a matter of fact, we just started our self-paced grammar in the classroom this week. And this is Pearson's SuccessNet Plus. It's a video. It's my first experience actually using Screencast or Screencast-O-Matic, I believe this is. Very easy to learn, so it's another tool I've just picked up through this presentation. Pearson's SuccessNet
Plus is our online program that we use in the middle school English classroom. It is their online textbook, so their textbook is available to them wherever they have an internet connection. So if they go on vacation or if they're home sick and are still recovering, they can access whatever we're doing.
The first thing that they will see is
when students log in,
short videos. This feature is good for students.
The first thing that they will see is a little welcome box with 4 short videos. This feature is good for students who don't remember from the overview we had at the beginning of the year how to work the desktop. It's also really nice for new students. I can direct them to the videos and they can
have a variety of choices at the top
understand how to use the site.
Any messages that I
Students click enter.
Right here,
they have a variety of choices at the top that they can go to. Any messages that I would leave would be right here in this white space. They have a calendar that would show due dates. Most students simply click into the To Do because this is where I assign assignments. The first thing that would be taken is a diagnostic test. The diagnostic test is not open book or open notes. I allow students on most of my tests to use their textbooks or any other resources I may have in the classroom to find the right answer. I just firmly believe that it's worth it. The answer's out there anyway, and I expect students to find the answer. But the diagnostic test is different simply because the system or the program has to know what they know and what they don't know. Based on what they don't know, it automatically creates a series of assignments that the student has to work through. When they're finished working through those assignments, and that could include grammar tutorials, practice exercises, when they're finished, then they would go ahead and they would take the chapter test. Those scores are then sent back to me, and I can keep track of students as they're completing their assignments. It's sent back to me, and then with my permission they are allowed to proceed. Very, very easy grade keeping with this program, and I can keep on track of many different students at the same time. So students can, for instance, click onto the grammar tutorial. They would click start, and they need to wear headsets with this. Click play.
My friends and I run for exercise. I usually jog on the track at Lincoln High, but sometimes I run with my cousin Zach on a path at Woods Park. The loop we run is 3 miles. My best time so far is 22 minutes. Someday, I want to run the Boston Marathon. Running may seem like it's all about action, but when I talk about running, I use a lot of nouns. Take a look. Nouns are naming words. They help you identify people, places, and things. Common nouns name general people, places, or things like friends, track, and exercise.
So that's just an example of what some of the videos look like. The nice thing about this particular program is that when I assign it, when we get to the grammar portion, students work their way through the program, and I tell students that when you're finished, you're finished. And if they've got a week left at the end of school, they can use that time to catch up on other assignments. They can read if they would like to read. That's what self-paced is. They get a reward at the end, and it also allows me time to pull aside those students in a small group setting to work with them together through this program. So I can differentiate within the classroom really with just a click of a button. It's a great program.
All right. I think I can throw that over here. The next program that I use, I've been using this for 7 years now in the classroom. I've actually watched it evolve over time with Pearson. It was Right to Learn was a very small company, and they just couldn't get their program out there. So Pearson took it over, revised it, and put in just a whole lot more to the system. And it's based on 6 traits. It's differentiated. I can pick and choose essays at my student's level. Even if I have a student who's writing at a 3rd grade level, I have access to 3rd grade essays. They practice essay writing, and they can read comprehension essays and then summarize what they've read. It ties into our science program as well. They receive instant feedback. I can monitor the student progress. The students maintain portfolios of their writing. It's interactive and it's self-directed. And at first I couldn't understand how the program worked, and then it was explained that they have students write real essays. Those essays are hand-scored. It's then scanned into a program where they, through whatever they do in the program design, grades the essays. They figure that there's someone out there who's written an essay very similar, and that's what it's scored against. Definitely it's not a perfect program, but it works for my students. It just gets them writing more often, because I can't read and grade 5 essays from each student a week, but Right to Learn can. So here's a short video on Right to Learn.
Another great technology tool that I use in the middle school English classroom is a program from Pearson called Right to Learn. Right to Learn is an online writing program that allows students to write much, much more than they ever would. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. I've been using Right to Learn for about 7 years. When they were first bought out by Pearson. They've made changes over the years. Every year it just gets better and better. This is what you see when you first log on to Right to Learn. It's a teacher tools menu. And one of the first things that I will do is I will click on assignments. I will select a class. As you can see, I've got many different classes. I can differentiate by creating as many writing groups as I need to within the classroom. So for instance, I have a English 2 and I have a regular English, and then I have an advanced English for 7th and an advanced for 8th. So for instance, if I want to look at the assignments that I have assigned to my 8th grade class, these are all the assignments. Students don't see this. They don't know what the grade level is of the essays I've assigned. Many of these are 11th grade. So we can click on a First in Your Life and it shows you what the prompt would be. When I want to select an activity, usually I'll give my students some say in an essay, but if we are studying a compare and contrast essay, I'm going to click on Essay. With my 8th grade, I almost always try to be at least 2 years ahead on essays, so I'll click 10th grade. I'm going to select all, and then I'm going to find. These are all the essays that I can choose from at the 10th grade level. The ones that are checked are the ones that have already been assigned. Over here, the description, I like to choose essays that have the overall score plus each individual 6 traits score. So if I'm looking for a compare and contrast, I would just go through. Here's a comparison and a contrast. This one, unfortunately, is an overall, but I'll look at the prompt, and it says different behavior for different events. And I might read the prompt to the students and to say, hey, does that one sound like something you'd like to write about? I have some more here that are overalls. English language learner, we've got those essays, which just means it's set at a different skill level. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you, once it's assigned, say I want to click on a meaningful childhood memory. I would save assignment. And then I would go to settings, because settings is where I'm going to check off on how many attempts my students have to submit. A meaningful childhood memory. So the maximum attempts to submit an essay for scoring is 12. I like students to be able to go back to their essays over time, because their essays, when they accumulate, create kind of a portfolio. So I can go back and I can say choose one essay that you want to revise and resubmit that to me. So I generally leave it at 6. I'll have a minimum of 300 words for the essay and the max at 650, and I want it to be graded at the 6 points. I usually don't want to show the overall. I just want the specifics of 6 traits, which is ideas, organization, convention, sentence fluency, word choice, and voice. I'm going to save those changes. And then I'm going to go back to the teacher's tools. And now probably the feature I use the most is the portfolio. And this is where I can begin to grade and leave comments for my students. So Let's look at my 8th grade advanced. Let's pick American presidents. I can pick a student. I can see how many attempts they had. So let's look at what Mr. Curley has submitted to me. If I need to be reminded about the prompt, I can click on it. It'll show me the prompt again. Before I start reading it, I go down here and I click Add Comments. It brings up another screen. I can pick my little comment sheet here, my sticky note. And as I read through it, as soon as I find something that I want to comment on, I can go ahead and do that. And I'll show you that in a second. So I'm going to look at his scores. There's not a whole lot I can comment on. I believe this essay is an 11th grade essay, and this student has scored 6 out of 6. If a student clicks on ideas for help, say they got a 4, and they clicked on it, they can actually go to essay examples. They can see, oh, what does a 3-point look like? What does a 4-point look like? What does a 5-point look like? And what does a 6-point look like? Within those points, they can click on these areas. It's going to show you specifically, it's going to highlight specifically what is appropriate, what is working for that score. And they can go to the summary feedback as well. They also have the option to check their spelling. So it will go through and check that for them. It also has a grammar tool. And it also has a new feature this year where if they cite sources, for instance, if I tell students I need you to do some research on the internet, in the essay. So it's a really neat tool for them. So anyway, so once I look at his scores, I go back, I read through it. Right to Learn is not a perfect through the essays. It doesn't pick up every mistake. It's not designed to do that. Really what it's designed to do is to get your students working more effectively with their writing. So I might look through it. I'll click beginning and just say, hey Jet, essay. When the student opens this up, and I know if a student has actually read the comments, because back to portfolio, and I can, and it's now pops up not yet viewed by student. This program also allows me to see exactly when a student accessed the program. So a student can't come to me and say, but Mrs. Green, I worked 3 hours on that essay and I only got a 65%. Well, no, actually you only worked on it, submitted 11 tries 2 minutes apart. And that's not the idea. They have also that they need to put the time in on their essays and click submit. Again, it's not a perfect program, but I've been using it for quite a while. I do see growth in the essays and the writing ability of my students over time and for them. So class scoreboard, I can go to overview, I can go to progress, prompts, assignments. Oh, you can create your own prompts, and I have done that before. If you're following Common Core, which Common Core is our follow it, we actually do more, but I can click on that and I can see some guide for summary writing. This actually improve reading comprehension. And if you have a Pearson program for science, it has social studies, and it has literature as well. Another nice feature is I have a variety of graphic organizers at my fingertips that I can print for students. To motivate them, I'll say, hey guys, I need someone with some really low scores, and that'll get them to volunteer. I'll put it up in the overhead and we'll work through it together so that we can improve the overall score. So it's very visual, very, very easy to differentiate because it goes all the way to levels. So I can assign essays at a student's ability level. So I really like this program. I would highly recommend it.
All right. Vocabulary Workshop through Sadler Oxford is another program that we started using in the classroom about 2-3 years ago. It has an online component that is very helpful. Students, again, can practice vocabulary, so if they forget their vocab book at school, they can go online and they can access the unit vocabulary that they're working on. Again, it's interactive, it has digital resources, immediate feedback through practice, testing, and review. It's self-paced and it's self-directed learning when they're going through the prompts and the games. I'll go ahead and show you that one. The Right to Learn is the longest video clip, I promise you. It is the one I use most frequently and most effectively in my classroom, so I felt I should spend a little time on it. Here is the Sadler Oxford site.
Another website that I like my students to use in middle school English class is the Sadler Oxford website. You don't have to purchase any of their materials to use it. It's a great resource for both teachers and students. I do, however, use the Writing a Research Paper textbook, and I use their vocabulary books. So students can come to this website and they can click on the vocabulary. We use the 2005 version. I'll just look, for instance, level C. A is 6th grade, B is 7th grade, C is 8th grade, and then I use level D for my advanced students. Students can log on. They can choose to hear the words out loud. They can also play games and puzzles. What I really like about the games and puzzles is that students can come down here to flashcards, and if they've got a few minutes, say if I give them 10 minutes to study their vocabulary words, they can bring this up, click on it, see the definition, the part of speech. They can also choose to invert the card so they have the definition, and then they can check their memory to see if they got the word right. They can also print the cards, and they can then use tape. They could just fold it over, use tape, cut them out, and carry them with them everywhere. So it's really a nice little tool. They have Hangman, word search, just some fun ways to get kids practicing their vocabulary. I also use it for the grammar and writing. We write a research paper. This is the particular research paper that we use, and students can select Go. What I like about this, if students click on this particular tutorial, it brings up a video that students watch. It's interactive, so by the time they're done, they know what plagiarism is. They print out a certificate, they sign it, and they turn it in to me. It is a quiz grade, but this way it holds students accountable for plagiarism. It also has a section on evaluating internet sources, which, as we all know today, is an important reason for our students. It's an important tool for our students to realize, what is a good good internet source and what is something we should be avoiding. They have two examples here. They have a model paper 1 and a model paper 2, and it takes them through the different topics and it shows them examples. So not only do they have the writing or research paper textbook, but they also have an online version. So if they don't bring their book home, they have it at their fingertips on the computer. And then it actually has a model paper that I'm hoping will come up because my computer is a little different.
All right. Sorry about typing. I didn't realize that you guys would pick up on that. So I apologize. I was trying to answer questions while you're watching videos just to stay on top. The next tool, technology tool I use in the classroom is, let me get to it, is NoRedInk. And I cannot believe I didn't find this site sooner. NoRedInk is right now it's a free online program. It's interactive. Students learn step by step the basics of grammar. It's self-paced, self-directed. Practice and quizzes are easily monitored through a program setup. And what's nice about this is that in the fall, they're going to preview a paid site, and you will have to pay for that. I don't know how much it is yet. They're still working on it, but it will cover every single section of grammar.
Another online technology tool that I like to use in the middle school English classroom is an online grammar program called NoRedInk. NoRedInk is unique in that it allows students to set up accounts based on their interests, and then it's interactive using those interests. So it just gives it a little more fun. I mean, if you have to study boring grammar, why not have a little fun at the same time? So you set up a classroom. It's free. They are unveiling a full program for a fee in the fall, and I'll be looking into that because I love this program and I really think my students benefit from it. So let's log in. And the first thing that you'll see is my class page, and I have my 3 grades. And what I can do is I can actually create an assignment. So for instance, I'm going to create an assignment for my 6th grade students. I'm just going to call it assignment 1. I like to practice colons, semicolons, commas, and quote transitions. And that didn't come up. There we go. 20 questions. I'm going to make this short because it is a preview. It's worth 5 points. We're going to start it right away, and I'm going to, if I only wanted to focus on one particular area, I could uncheck these, but I'm going to do it all. We're going to create the assignment, and it'll show up in the bottom. I want to preview it because I just want to show you what it looks like for the students. Here, it's a little tutorial, so you just click it, kind of shows you what to do. Click it one more time, submit the answer. Drag a comma here. Oop. And we're ready. So Severus Snape, I like Harry Potter, so this is kind of based off of my interests. Severus Snape's lunchbox included these snacks: pretzels, carrots, and peanuts. And I'm going to pretend like I have no idea how to punctuate this, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a semicolon in here, and I'm going to submit my answer. Now it says not quite. Try once more to fix the sentence. Click submit, answer if there are no errors. So I'm going to take it back to a comma, and then I'll submit. Now it'll automatically come up and it will show me the notes and that I should be, and I have my students write these notes, so they're also in their notebook, and I'm a firm believer in open notes for quizzes and homework assignments because I want to promote that self-direction that if you don't know the answer, please find it. So they'll look through their notes and they can go, oh, okay, try a similar problem. So Dr. Robert Chase wishes for these superpowers. And then to use a colon, the rule is if it goes on to explain it, that's when you use the colon. And so invisibility, and I don't want to capitalize this, invisibility, flying, and the ability to walk through walls. And I'm going to submit my answer. And now I have it correct. So it's very interactive. I love the site. It gives lots of notes. They base their notes off of some acronyms. So we've got THAMOs, we've got fanboys, and there are even more. I like the fact that students are thinking about acronyms when they're using grammar within their sentences. So I would recommend that you give this a try. And you can track the progress of your students. It's color-coded. And so you can go in at any time, you can see the scores that students received and whether or not they need more help in different areas. Again, it can be differentiated for the levels of students. I can create a different assignment.
Right. Again, NoRedInk is one of my favorite programs based out of San Francisco. They are hiring full-time, so if you're willing to go to San Francisco, you can apply if you are a teacher. The final program that we use in the classroom, we use this almost every single day, is Google. Most of you are familiar with Google. You probably use it yourself, but maybe not to the extent that we use it in the classroom. We made a conscious decision to go to Macs and to get rid of the Microsoft licensing because it is expensive. And Google, 95% of the time, we can use it in the classroom for any of our needs. It doesn't. We have to finesse it with research papers, but that's another webinar. It's free. It's online. Students can come to the classroom and access their paper there, go home, and it's right there. We use it for email. Every student gets one. We create and share projects with each other. No more lost or forgotten assignments. So I do believe this is the last video, so you're probably all going, yay! There you go.
Probably the most well-used technology tool in my middle school English classroom, in our entire school for that matter, is Google. Every student who comes to Shepherd of the Desert receives a Google email account that they use to keep in touch with other students in our school and teachers. They cannot send emails outside of our school domain, and they cannot receive outside emails. We monitor the website so students know it has to be used appropriately. As you can see by my inbox, I have 217 emails. Right now it's research paper time, so students are required to email me a copy of their rough draft research papers in both a PDF version and a shared version. I have students send the PDF because, as many of you know, working on Google, what you see on the screen is not always what prints out. However, if you view it on the PDF tool, you can manipulate it so that it prints out just fine. It takes a little bit of fine-tuning, and that's what my students learn to do. But it's important because I do not have my students print out any paper copies for research papers. Everything is submitted online, it's graded online, and my comments are left online. So that PDF version is important to keep track of formatting. When I'm working with students one-on-one, I simply just have to type something in. I can type in OWE and get Mr. Murphy. I could click on what he has shared with me. This is the shared Google document, and as you can see, I have made some comments. As I read through, I leave comments for him to fix. And this is the rough draft version, so they need to go back through and fix that and send it to me as a final copy. The PDF version, for instance, look up Emma Wilmoth. Here is her PDF copy that she sent to me. And this is where I can check out the formatting. I can tell here she has an issue with her right-hand margin, so I can let her know that in her paper when I leave comments. But her illustrations are correct. Her works cited page is correct. Her running head is where it needs to be on every page. And her parallel topic outline is correct. The formatting is exactly the way it needs to be. When I look in my drive, for instance, one day I was typing up a 7th grade outline, and we were working it together. I was explaining the parallelism of a topic outline, why it was important, and how to do it. And I just asked, this was up on the Promethean board, and I asked my kids, I said, so would you like me to share this with you on Google Drive so that you have it as an example when you're creating your outline? And they said yes, so I simply click share. And as you can see, I already shared it with them, but perhaps I wanted to send it to 8th grade. So I type in 8th. I've already created a contact list based on 8th grade, and I can click that. I can click add a message. I can change it to Can View. I can send a copy to myself. And I click send, and it's automatically sent out. And then students have access to that document on their own Google Drive. I like Google Drive mostly because students don't have to worry about losing documents. Whatever they start at home on Google Drive, they can come to school and pick it right back up again without fear of losing anything. They can collaborate with students. They can work on PowerPoint presentations together without ever having to meet in person. It can all be done online. And so if you haven't had an opportunity to utilize Google within the classroom, I do recommend that you use it. It's a great tool. It's what a lot of professionals in the real world, the global world, are using to work together. And I know taking college classes, it's what we used in our classes. You do have to work with it a little bit. Students have to get used to it. They have to get used to not printing things out.
All right, and most of all, it's free. I like free. Other sites I use in the classroom, no videos, I promise. EasyBib, and this is for formatting. I used to use citationmachine.net, but I have found EasyBib to be easier and more informative for my students. Freerice.com, I'm sure most of you have heard of that. It's a great way to learn math facts, vocabulary. It was designed by a dad who didn't feel his child was being prepared for the SATs, and from there it just took off. It's a great source. SpellingCity.com is still free if you use just the spelling portion. If you want to use the vocabulary, you do have to pay a fee, so you can check that out as well. Traditional assessments, I just wanted to touch on this a little bit. Traditional assessment in the classroom is the multiple choice, true or false, the matching. It's artificial, it's tests, it's quizzes, it's rote memorization, and mostly it's teacher-centered. Authentic, which is using the technology in the classroom to see if a student can actually produce something. It's real life, and it's what they're going to be using from the minute they go to high school and college and get out there into society. And it's student-centered, and that's what's most important. So what is my goal? My goal is to be a facilitator in the classroom, to direct the learning, not to be teaching. Quite honestly, there are several students in my classroom who are really, really bright and probably could be teaching as well. So to let them go and to learn on their own is really, really important. Students need to be organized. They need to know where to get information. Self-reliant, not to come up to a teacher in the classroom and go, can you help me with this? Just go find the source, go look it up, go Google it. I know Google's overused, but it works. It's able to be differentiated, and that will inspire intrinsic motivation. And the creativity of some of these kids using technology is amazing to watch. Students are using Prezi. I introduced that a couple of years ago. It's a new way to, it replaces the PowerPoint. So if you haven't tried Prezi, you really should try it. It's fun. I want to provide an atmosphere of self-regulation where students are constantly learning and reinforcing that organization. I want them to use their metacognitive abilities to sit there and think, well, that didn't work, so let me try this. Well, okay, that didn't work, let me try this. It's working through the process. I don't want them to give up. It gives opportunities for students to become self-regulated. I want them to set their own goals. I want them to use strategies that work for them, and I want them to monitor their own performance and reflect on what works for them. And then ultimately, I want to prepare students for a global world economy. How will we get there? Well, we need to talk a little bit about informational literacy. It was shocking to me to learn through statistics that students get to college and they think that if they find it on Google, that's all they have to do. They don't have to go anywhere else to find a resource. And so if I can teach them to evaluate their sources, to only use a .edu or a .gov or a .org, to explain to them what a .com is and that it could be biased, then that's what I try to do. It's going to require that teachers change the way they teach in the classroom. When students are coming to school more comfortable than a teacher and using technology, that might be a problem. Kids can check out as soon as 5 minutes when a teacher stands up in the front of the classroom and they give a lecture. But as soon as you allow students to get on the internet and start doing some searching, it's comfortable for them. They know how to do it. So support for teachers, training teachers is important. Having someone who's more of an expertise with computers and technology to help teachers along is really important. The benefits, it's learner-focused, it's self-directed with intrinsic motivation. For instance, my students just started the grammar portion of the trimester, which means for most students it's self-paced. I have a small group that works with me. They just need more of a one-on-one or a small group setting. But the others, for instance, I have student Emma. She's already in 2 days has already taken 6 chapter tests. She's that bright, and she works her way through the chapters. And when she's done, she's done. So I use that as a motivation. They have that time. They can spend it working on a presentation if they'd like to. They can practice for the final if they'd like. Every skill level is included. It promotes social skills through peer collaboration. Go see Susan. I saw Susan's paper online, and I know she knows how to do it. So go talk to Susan and have her show you how to do it. We do that over and over again. Skills learned last a lifetime as long as they keep up with the changes in technology. And it teaches the self-regulation that is important for our students. I would be remiss if I did not admit to you that there are issues and there are problems. Internet reliability is an issue. When it goes down, you have to be prepared to work around this issue. So I have classroom textbooks that students use when we don't have internet. Passwords and logons can be lost or forgotten, so I always have a backup for that when students come up and say, Mrs. Green, I don't know my password. Computers must be available at home. If you have students that don't have computer availability, I'm not quite sure how you would work around it, but it's not a problem with any of our students. They all have computer access. Parents have to be comfortable with self-directed learning. Many of our parents are not ready for that. They want the traditional stand up, lecture, give homework, take a test. Technology changes, equipment can fail, and you have to have extra computers when, for instance, we have 25 student computers. On any given day, 3 or 4 of them may not be working for whatever reason. So I need backup, go find a computer that works. But We have a 7th grade class with 25 students, so when I don't have any computers, that's the problem. And again, what I ask my students for concerning information literacy is it relevant? Is it appropriate? Is it detailed enough? Is it current? Is it authoritative? And is it biased in any way? So whatever they're looking at on the internet, in the classroom, in any class, science, social studies, it doesn't matter. I want them to ask themselves these questions. These are the references that I have used throughout my researching. And I'm going to leave these up here just for a couple of seconds. Sorry guys, that was my alarm that I need to be outside for pickup. Obviously, I won't be there. And again, I'm just going to leave these up. A lot of it is very technical. It has to do with technology in the classroom and, of course, the learning theories and why education in the classroom needs to change. I do believe technology is the answer. There is a place for traditional learning, but for the most part, we expect our students to be using technology no matter where they go. You can't even operate a cash register without some technology. Amen, yes. Thank you, Catherine. Again, if you have any questions, I would love to share any programs that I use with any of you. It might take me a little while to get back to you, but I promise you I will. If there's any questions, I can certainly answer any of those. I'm 9 minutes early. I don't know if that's good or bad. But if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those. I am on LinkedIn. I don't access it very often, but mostly because I have to remember another password to get into it. I never remember what my password is. So yes, I am on LinkedIn. I don't have everything on it, but I always get those emails. And I see someone is typing. Andy, do you have any questions? No questions, Andy? You unleashed the monster, Andy. Oh, you are welcome, Stu. Thank you, Andy. I was nervous. I hope it didn't come across too much, but. Well, Andy, you actually allowed me to do this, and for that I thank you. Okay.
Well, Sherry, this is Trip Rogers. I want to thank you. We're going to give a little time here to see if anybody has any questions. And as there are people that are typing, but I would like to remind everyone that next Tuesday on April 9th, Shepherd of the Desert will be back again. And on that one, we will do preschool's must-haves. So we would encourage you, especially those of you that have early childhood centers or are thinking about starting that kind of program, we will do another excellent program from Shepherd of the Desert next week. So if there are any more questions, please ask them now.
You can also email me. I spend a lot of time on email, so if you email me a question, I can get back to you.
So Sherry, there are people still typing, so we'll wait a few minutes here, and I think we're getting some well-deserved thank yous that are coming in, and I did not perceive the nervousness, so you did a good job of hiding it.
I'm just glad I didn't have to have my face up on the screen while I was talking.
Oh, you didn't know, but it was.
No, it was not.
Okay, and as Terry just mentioned here, within a week or so, the online version of this will be available. So if your language arts teachers were not able to participate in this today, this would be a great way for you to go ahead and get a copy of this along with all of the other webinars that we have. At this time, I'm not seeing a whole lot more questions, so I would like to thank Sherry for her work in putting all this together and sharing her theories behind this and all the work, and it was truly a blessing to be out there and see this program actually taking place. So want to wish everybody God's blessings as you go through this, the end of Lent, and as we move into the celebration of Holy Week and Easter. So God's blessings to you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Great job, Sherry.
Thank you. So
You did very well.
do I just hang up?
Yeah, you can hang up whenever you're done.
Okay, but I'm going to, if people are continuing to ask questions, should I continue typing responses?
Yeah, you can. I mean, I'll leave it open as long as people are there and typing stuff. I'll just leave the room open, and you can continue to answer questions and however you'd like to do it.
Okay. All right, this has been a wonderful experience. I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but I've learned a lot myself through this process. So it's great. I thank you.
Not a problem. I thank you too. A lot of the tools you demonstrated, I had never. I'm not language arts. I do sociology here as well. I teach an online sociology class as well as doing educational technology stuff here for Concordia. So as I'm watching, I'm going, oh man, there's a lot of tools here I could give the kids to help them. So.
Well, I love technology. As a matter of fact, I started my doctorate in technology in the classroom and got to the end of the year and realized I couldn't do a great job teaching and going through my doctoral studies, so I hated to give it up, but maybe at some other point in my life. But this is what the focus was. I love technology and learning through technology. So
where were you getting your doctorate?
Oh, I was just going to the University of Phoenix. They have a specific for teachers that don't want to leave the classroom. But it was a lot of work, and it was just hard to keep up with everything. I'm a perfectionist when it comes to being in the classroom, and
Sure.
It was hard to juggle.
Yeah. No, I can imagine.
Got a question here. All right, well, it looks like the questions have, whoop, nope, one more. There's my alarm again. Okay, well, it looks like now I have no more questions, so we probably can close it out. And look at that, 1 minute before 3. Well, 5 your time, right?
Yep.
I'm right on time. 1 hour.
Perfect.
Okay, Thomas, thank you so much for your help. I really, really appreciate it.
Not a problem. I was happy to be part of it.
Okay. All right, well, you have a great evening.
I will try. You too.
Okay, bye.
All right. Bye.